2025. I would like to welcome you guys to another edition of News Hour with Ghostwriter. You know what I'm saying? We do this every Tuesday, 7 a.m. Today we are talking about President Trump's deportation efforts versus Governor Newsom and the left, who won round one. Guys, I'm gonna take just a minute. I see somebody in here. Imagine being America and wanting a king or dictator. I guess that's where he wants me to start off. Before I get to the content. I don't think no one wants a king or a dictator. Hold on, really quick, y'all. I don't think no one wants a king or a dictator. And I wish that person was in here, like, so we could talk about that. Like, we're definitely gonna talk about these things. I got news that we're gonna go over. For the people who are watching this, make sure you guys like the video for me too after it was recorded. I don't think no one wants a king or a dictator. I just think the entire world is moving towards authoritarian rule. You know what I'm saying? And I think from a strategic standpoint, you know, the people who understand the world and they understand politics, geopolitics, all of these different things, they just don't want the world to change and America to get left behind. You see what I'm saying? Because that would definitely weaken America. So guys, as you come in, please like the video. You guys give me probably about 2 more minutes. If you don't mind, I'll be right back. We got a lot to go over. We're going to jump straight into the news, guys. And I thank y'all for being here. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Y'all make sure you'll like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. We getting straight to the news. So the news source we have is the LA Times. This is Sonia Sharp, June the 14th. So we're a little bit behind, but we'll catch up. Before I get started, I want to say, you guys, please pray for Israel. Pray for the civilians in Iran who are losing their life. I can't pray for a regime who's calling for death to one of its neighbors constantly. You see what I'm saying? Imagine, I don't care if you like them or not like them. You think Saudi Arabia all the way like Israel? When you hear MBS calling for death to Israel and sending, I mean, come on, man. You can't pray for a regime like that. Imagine as America, if you had Mexico and Canada, every country around America hates you, sending rockets into your country. You know what I'm saying? Get tired of that. So pray for Israel, y'all. Let's get back to the news, though. So, of course, this is the LA Times again, June 14th. Now, despite a stinging rebuke from a federal judge on June 12th, military forces deployed in Los Angeles will remain under presidential control throughout this past weekend, setting up a series of high-stakes showdowns. With in my opinion, the last of the showdown will be today. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get to that. Let's keep on with the news. On the streets of Los Angeles, protesters will continue to be met with platoons of armed soldiers. State and local officials remain in open conflict with the president. And in the courts, the President Trump's administration lawyers are digging deep into case law in search of archived statutes that can be cited to justify the ongoing federal crackdown, including constitutional maneuvers invented to enforce the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. President Trump had an agenda, okay? Y'all understand that? I'm sure y'all do. That's politics. He still has an agenda right now. So understand that. So basically, if you're an advisor or an attorney of President Trump, your goal is to try to find the law, what they're doing in the case law, to help him pass his agenda, right? I just don't think they're doing it the right way. You got to know how to argue. Let me tell you what I mean. Guys, we're going to get back to the news in a second, but digging deeper into case law, looking for a law isn't pure or authentic in your debate, and whether they win or lose their argument will not depend on case law from a Fugitive Slave Act, I promise you. So I think that's a failed argument, a failed strategy. I think if you're looking, me as a paralegal or a litigator, understand this. If you're looking for case law to prove your argument, to help stand up, man, I feel like my argument is going to become case law. It's going to be so solid. So doing this podcast, I could give you guys my opinion. And in my opinion, here would be my argument. First, number one, I'll go back to the last 10 riots in LA and argue the potential for it to spread and how fast they were put down. I would start with data. That's number one. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying I'm not there. I don't know the situation, but I'm saying just reading the news, just listening to the news, he looking for old case law. What I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna give y'all my whole strategy. Number one, I'm gonna start with the last 10 riots they had in LA. I mean, I could have done that research. I could do that research right now, but of course, I don't work for President Trump or anything like that, and this isn't my argument, but I'm just saying my strategy. You see what I'm saying? I always want to learn the rules or the history of the situation. Then I will look for how fast were the last 10 riots in LA put down? How fast did they spread? That's really important. If I'm having an argument right now to justify why I'm trying to keep troops in the state, you need data to back up what you're saying. Next, number two, that would give me a legitimate strategy moving forward, that it would be hard for Governor Newsom to find an argument to beat. Does that make sense? If you're looking from case law from a Fugitive Slave Act, come on, bro. You know that, man. I mean, that's part of debating or being a litigator is strategy. You can apply almost any strategy to anything. You don't want to leave the back door open on your quarterback's blind side. I know a lot of females who might watch this. Look, a quarterback, he throwing from his right hand. That means he can't see somebody over there. And if he looking over there, and somebody coming from you don't leave his blind side open. In my opinion, you arguing the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 to put troops in LA. That's just right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not looking for no case law for that. First off, I'm going to get data. I got to justify why they should be there to myself first. And if I could justify it to myself, then I'm going to be able to justify it to you. That's how I think. You got to be real with yourself before you could be real with someone else. You see what I'm saying? Number three, I finally will argue the results. What you mean by that, Ghost? See, if you had the right data and the right strategy, you could strengthen this argument similar to a before and after photo. Does that make sense to you? Guys, y'all know those fat people? And I ain't talking about nobody because I'm kind of chubby myself. You know what I'm saying? Kind of chubby. That's my... But you know those them chubs that, you know what I'm saying? And then they go, remember that Subway? I don't know if y'all old enough to remember. Most of us in here should. But you know, they do that Subway, the Atkins diet, you know what I'm saying? They lose weight. So they take a picture when they fat. And well, that's what I would do with the riots. After I get the data, I say I would have went in that court with those Mexican... Listen, and I'm going to get to this later. A Mexican flag behind a burning car is not an insurrection. Mexico is not invading America. It don't matter how it... Oh, yeah, the immigrants coming. Theoretically, it could be. I'm not arguing politics today. We're arguing kind of like law. Because today, the judge is going to make a decision on this. And this... Y'all, if y'all feel me, y'all jump down in the comments. Make sure y'all double tap the screen, like the video, okay? This to me is bigger than just about LA riots, man. This is much deeper. Much, much deeper. To me, it's a battle between the entire left and President Trump. His immigration policies. This should be, and in my opinion, is the only logical reason to replace troops with police. The defacing of federal property gave him a reason. Y'all know probable cause. Y'all are familiar with probable cause. Y'all might understand this a little bit better if I talk about stuff that you've had experience with. So say a police officer, he walk up to your car. There's certain things he can and cannot do from off that. You have rights. Whether he violates your rights and you don't know your rights, that's something totally different. But I'm saying you have rights if you know. So what I'm saying is one thing he cannot do without a search warrant is what? Your property, right? The car is your property, right? So he needed, but listen, if he walk up to the car and as he come into the car, he smelled marijuana, a strong odor, of marijuana, and he see a 223 or some kind of assault, that's probable cause. Now he can search your car without a search warrant. Y'all feel me? It works almost like the same way. It's like across the law, different disciplines. See, I understand this. My mind could see this. That's why I could be specialize in discrimination and civil rights and beat you in a medical case too, without never doing a medical case. That's not embarrassing. I just understand it's like it's built in me. It's not like I went to school to learn how to be a cook because I like cooking. I'm saying this is natural. Let me understand this, okay? So the defacing of federal property was the probable cause. Does that make sense? It's like President Trump, the big police officer. Really, he is. He the chief law. He the chief. Yeah. That his job is to execute the law. That's his job. That's why the FBI, all of them. I ain't going. Listen. Let's stay on topic now, okay? So look, that's like President Trump walked up to California's car and he smelled the marijuana and seen the shotgun. Now he could bring in the federal troops. He don't need your permission to check your car. He see a crime being, and it's the law, so he gonna do what he do. The defacing of federal property gave him a reason, but he gonna need some sort of data or intelligence of more riots to come in order for him to stay there with them troops. I promise you that. Y'all make sure y'all like the video if you guys have not already. Double tap the screen for me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you guys hit that notification bell too, guys. I'm going to continue with the content, guys. So many legal scholars say the current battle over LA is text case for powers the White House has long hoped to wield. Not just squelching protest, or big blue state leaders, but stretching presidential authority to its legal limit. Guys, this is the LA Times. If you guys are just coming into the stream and you want to know the source. A lot rides on what happens this weekend, said Christopher Morosa, a professor at the University of Houston Law Center. Isn't that kind of what I just said, though? Let's go back and look what I just said. The defacing of federal property gave him a reason. He will need some sort of data or intelligence of more rights in order to keep him there. So this is what the professor of law, I guess the guy know what he's talking about. He said a lot rides on what happens this weekend. You know, the story comes from the 14th, so he's talking about the past weekend. By staying the order that would have delivered control of most troops back to California leaders until after the weekend, the Ninth Court Circuit of Appeals left the Trump administration in command of thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines ahead of the nationwide No Longer Kings protest held this past weekend. Guys, that's what I just said. You see what I'm saying? That's exactly what I just said. Is it not? So when they're in court, he wants data or intelligence. Why the troops still there? Okay, I got a reason why they came. Defacing property, so they came. So President Trump wanted them to stay. Gavin Newsom said they got to go. Governor Newsom said they got to go. So why they still there? Also, the appeals court probably struck that order down from the judge because the No Longer Kings protest being held this weekend. I'm saying if the troops are already there and the protest going to keep going, you just justifying President Trump, reason to keep them there. I mean, if the people weren't defacing federal property in the first place, then they never would have had a reason to come. They would have been gone. But they gave President Trump the reason to come. So now that they're there, you see what I'm saying? If the violence will continue, we're going to get back to the news, but see how the judge ruled? I understand the workings of the court. You see what I'm saying? The appeals court will have no problem allowing the military to stay if there's continued civil unrest. I promise you. The United States Courts of Appeal will have no problem letting them troops stay. I'm talking about forever. If you keep acting, why he trying to maintain the peace? What's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I see A New with that $20. Appreciate it, baby. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing? I have not seen you in here in so long. Thank you. If you guys want to donate to the channel like she just did, make sure you guys hit that button below with that $sign in it. Your donations are much appreciated. And you guys, please double tap that screen for me. Like the video. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thank you, baby, for that donation. But you guys feel what I'm saying? If the White House has data that the protests are going to return, you feel what I'm saying? The appeals court going to let them stay. Oh, she said always a different time zone. Bro, I appreciate it, baby. Listen, though, she called me Brother X. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I know you do. Every time you come on here, and I appreciate the support so much. Thank you so much. You know what I'm saying? I hope you stick around too for the live stream if you can. And if not, I understand why you can. So guys, y'all are feeling where I'm coming from, guys. So let's get back to the news, okay? So the Trump administration claimed in court it had the authority, to deploy troops to LA due to protesters preventing ICE agents from arresting and deporting unauthorized immigrants, and because demonstrators downtown amounted to a rebellion against the government, the authority of the government of the United States. Listen, bro, I'm not hating on nobody. President Trump is a politician. He's gonna be a Okay, listen. So President Trump isn't an attorney. He studied business in college. President Obama, not only is an attorney, he graduated from what? Harvard Law. So he a very intelligent attorney. So President Obama, I'm gonna get to my point. He's never gonna say, there's no lawyer who works for President Obama who will never say that a rebellion challenging the authority of the United States, because he knows the law. So what I'm saying, President Trump doesn't know the law. He's hiring attorneys. So he's just a politician. He knows he told the people he was going to do a certain thing and he won the election. So he needs that done. So he's going to the attorneys. These attorneys are writing this, and I'm trying to tell you I know what I'm talking about. Those, regardless of what the argument and the politics that's being played, is going to get pushed out the court. I'm trying to tell you, listen, the argument that needs to be made is they were defacing federal property. That's your reason to be there. I'm not constitutional law, but I'm saying y'all could look this up. I'm saying preventing ICE agents from arresting and deporting unauthorized immigrants. I don't know if you could get the military to do that. I guess there's a way you could draw that up. But if I was President Trump, as soon as that judge heard defacing federal property, then you got all the rights for them to be there. That's my whole argument. You see what I'm saying? You start saying a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. And if I was a judge, I seen somebody with a Mexican flag and a burning car. Maybe it looked like Mexico is invading if you from Ohio and you don't understand these cities who have more Hispanics in them than Americans. You're going to see them flags all the time. That ain't nothing for us. If we don't see them, we're going to think something wrong. That's not an invasion. That's theatrics, though, man. That's politics. And in a political theater, President Trump is king. Am I right or wrong? We see what just happened. It's his second time he won it. But I'm saying in the court, though, he needs a legal person so he could be king in court, too. That's not what's happening. The U.S. District Court judge, see if I'm wrong now. And listen, I know what President Trump's people gonna say, the liberalism, and we're gonna address that too. I'm a legal person, so this is my wheelhouse. The U.S. District Court Judge Charles Breer of San Francisco, President Trump in federal court in San Francisco. Do y'all know the results of his ruling? But that's what President Trump gonna say. He's gonna say that's a liberal judge, and you might be right, but you saw what happened to Chief Justice. He don't want you on his judges. Because see, President Trump, you gotta understand that he could be liberal. They knew he was liberal before they selected him to be a judge. Just like a conservative is a conservative, and they knew he was conservative. A judge having an opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. He was selected to be a judge because he has an opinion. Good morning, Brian C. He says, your thoughts on the Middle East conflict. Should we be involved? I say yes, 10,000%. How are you not going to be involved? Brian C., we have to, my brother. And good morning, by the way. How are you doing, sir? My manners. If we're not involved in that Middle East conflict, then eventually he gonna try to. What if he wiped Israel off the map? He's saying death to Israel, and who else? Who you think he gonna be coming after he comes? So yes, most definitely, Brian. You know what I'm saying? But look, man, yeah, like I'm just saying, in my opinion, like that. So the Judge Charles Breer of San Francisco wrote Thursday that President Trump had steamrolled state leaders when he federalized California's troops and deployed them against protesters. This is what the judge said. He said his actions were illegal. That's the only thing in this opinion I don't agree. See, I ain't looking for no politics in the law. I'm not doing that. I'm not looking for politics. You see what I'm saying? Oh yeah, that's what they'll try to do. Definitely. Yeah. But America has to stand with Israel. Brian, see, my brother, if you don't mind, I'll talk to that about that. I'm gonna do a whole stream about that. Because that situation's heating up. And what I'm saying to President Trump, like if you let the Ayatollah, if you let him stay, you're gonna be dealing with this problem again. Unless somebody got some plans to go after Israel next. If you're gonna stand 10 with Israel, you gotta stand 10. That's Netanyahu's backyard. This dude talking about wiping Israel off the map. What? You know, that's just what I don't know. That's just how I feel. What would America do? Any nation. What would Saudi Arabia do if they were in the middle of 18 countries talking about destroying them? What would they do? Bro, Ben Newton. Nah, let me stop, bro. Ben. Look, so guys. So what the judge saying about President Trump deploying the troops, his actions were illegal. Sir, I'm not sure, Your Honor, if his actions were illegal because of the defacing of the federal property. But see, that's what President Trump's lawyers get for not arguing that. Instead of looking for, I would have stand 10 on what I had to argue. He said his actions were illegal, both exceeding the scope of his statutory authority and violating the 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. I'm not going to argue that, Judge, about violating the 10th Amendment. I'm not going to argue with him about that. I don't know enough about constitutional law to argue that. So what can I say? I'm saying if I had to put money down, I'm going to bet on the White House lawyers or the Black Robe. As far as we're going to keep going doing. Okay, still on the news. While ICE was not able to detain as many people as defendants believed it could have, this is what the judge is saying. He in San Francisco, though, now. It was still able to uphold U.S. immigration law without the military's help. He said a few belligerents among thousands of peaceful protesters did not make an insurrection. Now, when I read that, I just thought those were some of the most beautiful words, but I'm a legal person. So I understand him when he's talking. Because listen, you got to understand something. Even though he's a San Francisco judge, okay, I heard what Mayor Bass said about peaceful protests and Governor Newsom peaceful protests and all these people saying peaceful protests. But we look on the TV and that don't look peaceful, the images we were seeing on TV, right or wrong, or indifferent. So guys, let's be real. Federal judge, San Francisco. Really what he's saying is what West Coast politicians need to be saying. Look, I understand how massive LA is. You could have been at 3 protests 3 days in a row and never seen violence anywhere, depending where you are. But it was still there, and there was defacing federal property. And that's President Trump's reason. That's his argument. But just because some migrants start waving Mexican flags, cars behind burning cars, President Trump, that legally, that's not going to be an invasion. So the judge is right on that point, okay? But let's continue with the news. So he continues and he says the idea is that protesters can so quickly cross the line between protected conduct and rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States is untenable and dangerous. He's talking about the language. Oh yeah, he is seeking asylum from Russia. Brian, if you just give me just a second, we're gonna talk about that, Brian. I really want to talk about that. But guys, listen though. The judge saying the idea that protesters can so quickly cross the line between protected conduct, and rebellion. Protesting is protected conduct. They can protest peacefully. And he said, and the judge is saying, and rebellion. See, I just wouldn't use those words. Rebellion against the authority of the United States. I mean, that's why they saying no kings. That's why they saying dictators. That's why they saying. And I'm saying President Trump, some legal people, bro, it'll clean it up, man. I just wouldn't use those words. But what's the next sentence the LA Times said? The Ninth Circuit stayed Breer's ruling hours after he issued a temporary restraining order. So that means the Ninth Circuit, U.S. Court of Appeals, they agree with President Trump. And guys, President T, my dude and all, y'all know that. And y'all know I'm a legal person and all. And I don't really want to see no error in the judge's words. I'm not looking for errors in the judge's words and trying to critique him. And only a slight error in his ruling, which caused President Trump to win that appeal. And I'm going to tell y'all what that is. The judge started by saying that protected activity is calling it an insurrection is dangerous. I agree with that 10,000%. He's fully within his duties to rebuke any attorney that walks in his courtroom. You see what I'm saying? So that rebuke, you hear the judges of President Trump's attorneys, okay? However, right, he is about the language that he cannot deny, however, that there were a few belligerents who were breaking the law. And that few belligerents caused President Trump to do what he did. You got 100,000 peaceful protesters, and you got 3 people that run up on federal property and deface federal property. He calling troops. What can we say, Brian? See, I don't know what we can say. But he has the authority to protect and defend federal property. And he telling the judge or his lawyer should have been, hey, they attacking my ICE officers. We can't even execute the law. And if I was a judge and I seen them images and he got troops here, you can't tell them troops to go home while that stuff going on. You know you can't tell them troops to go home while that stuff going on. Because we don't know what it's going to turn out to be. What if you tell them to go home and then it end up being so bad and now he can't even bring them back because you sent them home? You know that's not going to work. Let me finish a little bit. However, he was right about the language, because he was right about his language, really. If he said what President Trump did was illegal, I don't know if it was illegal because the Ninth Circuit of Appeals stayed his order. And you guys heard what I said on the live stream last time I did the live stream. I read LA Times, just like before, the many threats to President Trump's, go back and watch that, his golden age. I read on the live stream, you know what I'm saying? And I said on the live stream that, because Mayor Bass admitted that they were writing on federal property. They defaced some. Well, hey, that's enough reason for them to show up, the troops, to call in the troops. And so if I'm a judge and I still see unrest and you telling them the help to go home because you got it, well, let's wait till the unrest chill out and then we'll send the help home. That's the whole story. I told y'all that. He had I'm not in it. I'm talking from a legal standpoint, reasonable cause. Just like that police officer walking up to a car and seeing blood on your shirt. Listen, the police just got a call that a woman just got murdered up the street. He walk up to your car, see blood on your shirt and a shotgun. He don't need no search warrant. That's the blood on his the blood on your shirt and that shotgun is his search warrant. That's his search warrant. You feel what I'm saying? That's all he need. Same thing with President Trump. Defacing the property, that was his to go. They defacing the federal property. That's all I need to go. But I'm saying while they still there, they defrauded federal property, although politics has no place in the law. The judge has to know the politics of the situation. The judge is a judge because his opinion is valued. You understand that? Like I'm saying, they know he liberal before he was liberal, and they know the conservative, but his opinion, because look, it's a left and a right. You either gonna be left or you gonna be right. We can't control who left and we can't control who right, can we? You gonna be left or right. But they still trust his opinion though. So calling them liberal, even though San Francisco federal judge, what you think? But that's still not gonna help. Here is his one error. He should have gave President Trump a deadline. That's the only error I see in that opinion that I read. That's it. Other than that, I really don't see no errors in that opinion. But that's why President Trump won that appeal. If he would have gave him a deadline, for instance, okay, write everything the same that he wrote in his opinion, because he's not rebuking President Trump. He can't rebuke President Trump, a duly elected president, on the politics of what got him elected. He's not rebuking President Trump. He's rebuking those authorities for that. Listen, whenever you filing documents in the court, the judge, especially in federal court, they hyperactive on the documents. They ruling on almost every document. He make, if not everyone, he making a ruling on what was written. So he just responded to the language. He's talking to President Trump's lawyers, but he could have wrote that same opinion to those lawyers, like, y'all check y'all language in this door. He could have wrote that same opinion to those lawyers, but he could have said, for this reason, I direct the White House attorneys to reconvene in my courtroom in 7 days to see if, number one, federal property is still being defaced, and number two, see if the situation is under control. That's it. Tell me where I'm wrong at. Everything else that federal judge said was right. That's his opinion. If you was in a small country community in Arkansas in a federal court, you know it's probably going to be a conservative judge. So you know that's the rules, that's the game. You know you're going to get a conservative ruling. So this liberal judge gave President Trump a liberal ruling. That's what he expected. But the reason he got overturned in the appeals court is because when President Trump first, listen, this whole argument is how long they stay. That's what the argument is about. You can make the argument about them being illegal to be there. I said that from the get-go. Y'all could go back before this federal judge ever touched it. If they defaced it, I don't even study constitutional law. I don't know that. I never studied constitutional law. But y'all seen it on the stream when I heard Mayor Bass say that they did what? They sprayed federal. Well, that's his job, to anything to do with federal, anything. He is the federal executive. He writes federal checks, federal buildings. He decides. I mean, Congress, but I'm just saying, I know that for a fact. And I know how the court is. This is the place to settle disputes. We like seeing law and order and peace. That court, officers of the court, you see what I'm saying? So you seeing this chaos, And defacing the federal property, I mean, you already know in the middle of the chaos, right? Am I right or wrong? In the middle of the chaos, they not going to rescind no troops, bro. Not in the middle. He going to let President Trump keep the peace. And I ain't hating on President because, like I said, on that side, I'm a legal person. I read what the judge said. I wouldn't hate on the judge. Not because I'm an independent. I'm not saying the man, he could be a conservative. Not that because I'm an independent, not because I'm a conservative, not because I'm a nothing. I just understand the way the game goes. His opinion is valued. That's why he's a federal judge. You know how many lawyers there are in America? And out of those lawyers, you know what percentage of them make it to that level he's on? Yeah, he's really good at what. You see what I'm saying? I understand that. So I'm not, you're not going to appeal somebody's opinion. You can appeal errors of interpretation of law, or if a judge just made some kind of egregious error. Those kind of things are appealable. Just because he feels a certain way, everybody has an opinion. How you going to appeal a man's opinion? But the reason why President Trump won this appeal, bro, the court case, y'all, is today. 3-panel, they're going to render a decision on whether the troops going to stay in California or not. It's today. And I'm telling you what the judge is looking at right now. I just gave it to y'all. Brian, see, I'm finna get right back on Iran and stuff. Whatever you guys want to talk about in just a second. I direct the White House attorneys to reconvene in my courtroom in 7 days. Well, hey, the 7 days have went past. So all I got to do is turn on the news and see if there's any riots in LA on Tuesday today. Are there? Were there any on Monday? How I looked this weekend? Was there any riots? Was there any unrest? Well, the White House attorneys, they need to come up with data or some intelligence to show the court why the troops should stay there. Hey, listen, Your Honor, this is classified with the FBI, and we did this, and we found out this, so we know as soon as the troops leave that A, B, and C gonna happen. You got to show this to the court to why you still there. You can see if the situation is under control. We just talked about that. The situation's under control. Well, situation under control, you ain't got nothing you can show me to where is this going to return or it still happen, and federal property is secured and not being defaced. Do you know what that judge going to think? Well, they got a LAPD. They got a LA County Sheriff's Department. They got the state troopers, state police. They got a bunch of options. And then Governor Newsom can call the National Guard too. So he probably going them 3-panel judges and they dissent, they probably gonna write something to the state. If they let the troops leave, if they order the troops gone, they're gonna probably write something to the state attorneys and they're gonna let them know. Hey, if it happened again and he gotta come back then. But if there's nothing there, then legally they just gonna say, hey, well, you know what I'm saying? Look, let me get back to the news because I'm at the very end of this already. The pause will remain in effect, which means the troops are still there until at least Tuesday, today, when a 3-judge panel made up of 2 appointed by President Trump, the LA Times said that, I don't think it matters though, and 1 by President Biden will have arguments if the troops can stay. Listen, this is what I'm saying. When it comes to law, look, I guess they could say I'm a conservative. If you want to say I'm a conservative, I am a conservative, very much so. But I'm saying when it comes to law, I don't see myself as really nothing but law. Look, if I gave you guys everything, and then we gonna get to the let me see what YouTube say. It said, all right, so listen. I thought they were talking about something, man. I was finna get into it. Y'all make sure if y'all have not liked the video, y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. So guys, look, this is what I'm saying. So in my mind, or my opinion, this whole thing and this whole situation to bring this case to a conclusion, if federal property is still not being defaced, that's the entire reason that President Trump and them went in there. That really gave him the reasonable cause to do it. If it's still not being defaced, if the situation is under control, meaning that you don't see no riots, you don't see no, and I could promise you $1 million that I really think that's over with, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I thought like we were going to talk about. If that's what y'all want to talk about, if not Brian C., then I'll let you go, Brian C. But I can almost 10,000% guarantee you guys that it's going to come down to those three things. You know what I'm saying? Look, I heard somebody start off the stream say President Trump is trying to be a dictator. I mean, I really can't see that. Like I said, to me, what Brian C. says, you know what I'm saying? It looks like to me that President Trump and the military is seeing the rest of the world becoming more authoritarian. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that's all that's happening. I think that, you know what I'm saying, that they're just trying to keep up with what Russia or what China or what whoever else is doing. You see what I'm saying? They're just trying to keep up with it. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that's pretty much, you know what I'm saying, what's going on with the authoritarianism. Now, as far as y'all saying President Trump saying a lot of stuff that sounds like a dictator, how we know he being serious about that stuff? And the stuff that he is being serious about, I mean, we've seen like the court's working, y'all. So, I mean, to me, I feel like that's just his style. He just being creative, man. And we just need to let the man cook, you know? I know President Trump, the last time he was president, Brian C., President Trump had a lot of chaotic looking stuff happening in his administration. So he just didn't want that to happen again. And I understand why. And he might know more stuff than we know. You see what I'm saying? So he's like, hey, I want to send the troops in there to make sure it keep the peace. You know what I'm saying? He went to the judge in San Francisco. He probably figured that would happen, you know? And they went to the appeals court. And I'm sure today the appeals court going to look at the information, the data. They're going to hear the arguments. And they're going to see, I'm just saying, if I could be on President Trump and them team, I would tell them that y'all need to show this court right now that, or give them some data or intelligence of why it's going to happen again, or there's not law and order, or it's something that the state troopers, that LA County or LAPD can't handle. You got to give that to the court. You see what I'm saying? If you can't give that to the court, if I was arguing for Governor Newsom, I would go in there and, you know, you got to show how y'all got it under control. And the court's going to make the decision today. So what's up, Angelo? He says, peace and blessing. What's up to all my President Trump people? YouTube Punk said, President Trump is cooking us. Y'all ready to have a little debate on the we hadn't done this in a long time. I got Angelo and YouTube Punk in here, so we finna do this. Y'all make sure y'all double tap that screen for me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, make sure y'all hit that notification bell. I done covered all the content. So Angelo, this is what YouTube Punk saying. He wants a response. He says, President Trump is also in violation. Hold up, I want to see what he says. Oh, in violation of a emolument clause, using the office to swift and get read. That's why you have Congress. Angelo, you read his comment. You can respond to it, and I'll respond to it too, and I'll read your comment. But YouTube Punk, my opinion on that is that's why you have Congress, right? You see what I'm saying? Because I'm saying if he's doing that, I'm sure the Democrats might get control in 2026, and if they do, and if they don't, I mean, you know. He said, saluting the Bone Spurs Dodge drafter, hilarious. I don't understand that though, YouTube Punk. So I'm saying, you saying that I'm saluting President Bone Spurs. So I'm saluting President Trump like America saluted him. The majority of the American voters saluted him. And I got reasons to salute him because I seen stuff from his administration, from the people he picked in that government. Yeah, there's reasons I have to salute him. What has he done to me? He dodged the draft? For real? He'd still the commander-in-chief. Bill Clinton, they said Bill Clinton dodged the draft. Bill Clinton was a really good commander-in-chief, a really good president, well-loved. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Angelo said he ain't worried about it. He says the fact YouTube Punk voted for Kamala had his credibility is no good. I wouldn't say that, Angelo, though. Not necessarily. I'm saying, actually, Angelo, I would disagree with that completely. If you never supported President Trump to start off with, right? And say he got 34 felonies and he left how he left the first time to where it was looking like, oh, bro, I'm saying, like, to me, for somebody supporting VP Harris like a Democrat or a left-leaning person, to me, that's not something. The other half of the country, or a little less than the other half of the country, they voted the other side. You feel me? But Angelo, it's just, to me, it's like after he's been in the White House for 6 months. Look, the last time he won the election, I didn't support him, but he won. He won. It don't matter who you vote for. See, I don't look at it like that because I believe in the law. Once he put his hand on that Bible, it don't matter how I feel no more. But see, people don't look at stuff like that because they don't deal in law. Because I have a bunch of opinions, just like everyone else. But I was trained when I start writing those codes, my opinions got to go out the window. It matters what's on this page. That's how you win or lose. Well, what I'm saying is, though, like, my opinion of President Trump was immaterial. Once he won the election, that was law. Let's get it. And then to step into that, I could see if he stepped into it and he did something bad. I'm saying I'm sitting here waiting on something, Angelo, for 15 months. And I ain't hating on President Biden or nothing, but I'm waiting 15 months. And President Trump get in there in 2 months is done. I'm saying, man, like, but just because somebody isn't, there's a bunch of a lot of Democrats didn't vote for President Trump, but that doesn't mean that they don't have credibility because they don't see it the way that you see it, Angelo, doesn't mean that they don't have credibility. That's so funny. Y'all don't, bro, like, to me, Angelo, I talk to people who are not in the legal community and I talk to people in the legal, and it's like two different worlds. What y'all think credibility is not what it really means. The words that people think on the streets, what they in the court, I guess because the legal field have different meanings for almost the same words, but it's like what people say in the word. Like, I'm going to say what the word means, like literally. Credibility, you got to understand. If people be using words, they using a language, Angelo, that some people use a language they don't really even understand. It's an amazing thing. There's like a street thing for what the words mean, and that's where the Oxford Dictionary version, and then there's a legal version of what the words mean. So I don't know, man, you know, Angelo, but I feel you on your opinion and I appreciate it. YouTube Punk's talking about, he said, waiting for Epstein Files, Elon exposed Trump, bro. I heard that, bro. I was laughing so hard. I never would have said that. Elon, why you do President Trump like that? You know that's your boy, man. You can't do President T like that, man. I never, like me personally, like once a dude, like I never really talked about him personally like that. But once somebody didn't show me that I'm good on you. Once I'm good on President T. I'm cool with it. Period. King, dictator, whatever you want to call him. I'm cool on him. You feel me? I mean, you ain't gonna hear me talking negative about him. You talk about a policy, that's something totally different. If I was sitting in the room, I'm not a yes man. Oh, I'm not a yes man either. And everything somebody say, yes, you are. I'm really not, though. I argue people. I argue the judge. And I salute the judge. I stand up and when that judge, when you do it anyway, you gotta rise anyway. I'll rise and salute him. Dead serious. I respect him, but I argue that's the nature of every relationship in that court is supposed to be adversarial. That judge ain't your friend. Me, that's adversarial. Me against the defendant. Now, that defendant, he food. He lunch. But yeah, man, it's all adversarial. Y'all make sure y'all double tap the screen for me if y'all have not already. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, guys. Super chat, super thanks, super stickers. They start at 99 cents. Just hit that button below. YouTube says you are defying the law, and if you don't see it, what? Man, I don't know what this dude talking about. Give me the code. These people you can't even spell defying. Let me stop. And you ain't even got the code. What's the code? What's the code? Defying the law. You talking about President T is defying the law. Listen, the judge said that he was. What the U.S. Court of Appeals said. That's an end. That conversation is dead. The U.S. Court of Appeals said what I said before that judge ruled. They said exactly what I said. I know what they're going to say. Anytime a case is filed and I see it, I can tell you what it's supposed to, the end of it. I could tell you how it's supposed to go. I guess I'm supposed to be a judge. Because I could tell you how that case is supposed to end. You just give me a summary of the facts. I could tell you. A summary of the facts. President Trump is bringing. So I'm seeing both sides. I'm seeing what Governor Newsom saying, and I'm seeing what President Trump's saying. I'm seeing both sides. Both sides. So that federal judge, he done went in the cannons. Or his law clerk did. And they got the statutes to stand 10 on what he said. That's why the federal judge wrote that. I really ain't going to argue with that. But what I'm saying, just like the probable cause, President Trump had reasons to bring the troops in. And if there's violence going to continue, then that's his reason to have them to stay. You know what I'm saying? So prices are down and the left is complaining. No, prices are down. Angelo, I think YouTube Punk, you see what he's saying in the screen. I don't think he's complaining about the prices. I think he's complaining about they have something against President Trump. They think he's trying to be like a dictator. They think President Trump trying to be like Kim Jong-un. Y'all seen The Dictator? I think Seth Rogen played in. I was thinking about that the other night. I was cracking up, bro. That movie that they play that movie just like, bro, if you see The Dictator, if you see that movie, you would think that it was just being funny. But then I seen when Dennis Rodman really went over to North Korea, bro, I was cracking up. Watch The Dictator and say President Trump is trying to be like that. Negatory. Oh, you say, well, who else the dictator? Oh, Putin. That's his boy. That's who it is, huh? He trying to be like Putin. Well, look, is Putin a dictator? Yep, he is. But Putin's rule isn't obsolete. That's what y'all don't understand. If Putin made a few errors, I really don't want to say, but if Putin made a couple errors, if I seen a couple errors made by Vladimir, I think he would lose support. I really do. His rule isn't obsolete, but yeah, he is a dictator. President Trump, you saying President Trump want to be like Vladimir Putin? Really? Seriously? I don't see that. He might. I don't see it though. Angelo talking to YouTube Punk. I'm paying $2.79 a gallon in New Jersey. You Trump, J-Mass paying $3.59. J-Miz, the Biden administration. He said inflation shrunk drastically under Biden, better than countries around the world. I'm saying, what about inflation and shrunk under President Trump? The budget didn't redacted. Hey, the budget didn't been cut. I'm saying like America's making millions and millions and millions off of tariff revenue. I'm saying we can't say nothing. The unemployment, YouTube Pump, the unemployment rate still holding steady at 4.2%. He was ruling by executive orders into the big, beautiful bill. He was trying to rule by executive orders to the big, beautiful bill. But if he was a dictator, somebody Google right now for me, Angelo, YouTube Punk. Google the percentage of those 270 lawsuits against President Trump that he won. Because he ruled by executive order and he got sued 270 times. So it's like every executive order he wrote, he got sued for. How is that a dictator? I'm wondering, because Putin ain't getting sued for what he do for killing 5,000 Russian kids a week. He not getting sued for that. That's a dictator. He got the oligarchs in his pocket. So he good. As long as they in his pocket, he good. If they could unite against him, he toast. Because they know more business people around the world than Putin do. So I'm saying as long as the oligarchs in his pocket, he good. You feel me? But if your orders are getting checked by a federal judge, then how are you a dictator? Oh, they saying he's trying to be. Well, you could say a lot of presidents might have tried to be a dictator without coming out and saying, hey, y'all, I'm trying to be a dictator. I'm saying, this is all I'm saying. Y'all got to look at it like this. Look at it from this. Look at it as if you was the president. Forget President Trump. Forget how much you don't like him. This is what we do in law. Look at it as if you was the president. Okay? Take everything and put it out your way. So I'm the president now. Close your eyes. Whoever you are, YouTube Punk, Angelo, Fuzzy, Darren K, and Faith. Let's close our eyes. And we are the president. Now, if we are the president, and the last time I was president, something like January 6th happened, and me and Nancy Pelosi are publicly arguing. Listen to me, please, because I'm giving you wisdom. Me and Nancy Pelosi are publicly arguing about who was supposed to or did not or do or whatever the troops in California. Do we feel that? So if I got in that situation again, I'll do just like President Trump did. Chaos, go. Chaos, federal property, go. Chaos, federal property, attack federal agents, go. They weren't saying President Obama. January 6th didn't happen with President Obama. It didn't happen to President Biden. It didn't happen to President Clinton. It didn't happen to no other president. It happened to President Trump. So President Trump heard us before. You don't think maybe not ghostwriter saying it, but he heard somebody who was saying a variation of what Ghost was saying. So he's saying that he not going. Why would I let? Bro, you see January. If I was President Trump and you went through January 6th, you went through 34 felonies and you went through assassination attempts. I'm not talking about Donald J. Trump. I'm talking about you, YouTube punk. I'm talking about you, Miss Faith. I'm saying if you, YouTube punk, and you, Miss Faith, have been through 34 felonies, assassination attempts, and all of this, and it started with January the 6th. That was the beginning of the end for him, right? Because the felonies, assassination, all of that stuff probably, you see what I'm saying? If January 6th wouldn't have happened, he just could have faded easily and popped back in 4 years. Because of January 6th, that weaponized them to try to make sure he don't never come back, right? So if I had won after he had 4 years to think, bro, I would have been like, bro, the first thing I hear, I'm gonna make sure that you're not gonna, because it's gonna make me look bad. It's making me look bad. It's making the Republicans look bad. It's hurt my brand. Chaos hurts my brand. Any business person to tell you that a chaos is what's gonna bring your brand down. Is that chaos? If President Trump, and I've said this, YouTube punk, a trillion times, if President Trump was in Trump Towers and they came to him with two people that he liked a whole lot, two of his next potential leaders, and said they were coming to fisticuffs in front of the customers, and customers started leaving, I get why wouldn't I fire both of them? You know that's how businesses work. Businesses, they don't want the drama. They don't want the lawsuits. They don't want the lie. They don't want that. So if I'm trying to run a country and I was the president that had January the 6th, if I was the judges, I would look, the appeals judges, I would look at what he did, understand it, whether or not, listen, Judge, is his name Breer in San Francisco? Listen, Judge Breer in San Francisco, if you got down with Judge Breer and argued him on the technicalities of the law, he's probably going to be right. Never do that, especially on that level. You got White House attorneys coming into a federal courtroom. That judge is going to be 10,000 and write that decision as perfect as he can. That's the White House he going to get. Now, come on now. You feel what I'm saying? So if you are talking about the technicalities of what that judge is saying, nobody is saying the judge is right or wrong. But what I'm saying is the reason why the appeals court left him there is because of what I'm saying. And I don't see how they don't understand that, how anyone else do not understand that. If you're any legal person, and if that was you, how you don't understand that. I don't see how you understand that. How you don't understand that. You see what I'm saying? I don't see how. I mean, it was chaos there. So President Trump went. Is the chaos still there? No. Well, how long y'all staying for? We gonna be here 30 more days. Don't do that if y'all go in there. Don't be going in there. If it ain't been no chaos in Los Angeles, don't go in there saying you're gonna stay 30 more days. Unless you got data or evidence. Look at who is that? Hey, I appreciate that donation, Illside. Hey, look, unless you got data or evidence, y'all, to show that court, those appeals judges, that it's going to be more chaos or potential for it. If you don't have that data or evidence, because you got to tell these judges, basically, listen to me now, if y'all like President Trump or President Trump's people, if you arguing for him legally, if you got to basically tell these judges the reason why California State Police, LA County, LA Sheriff's Department, and LAPD is not good enough to do the job, and the reason why Governor Newsom and those local officials shouldn't be trusted to run their own communities. That's your argument. I'm saying, to me, you looking for, I found a slave act of 2020. What? Bro, I'm just saying, man, like, you just got to know how to argue, to frame the argument. You got to know what the conversation is about, what the goals are. President Trump is saying that he wants to keep law and order. In LA, President Trump, you have to have a reason, way, well-being to be there. But like, if you ask me, like, the decision to do it, I'm not arguing the decision. That don't make me want to be a king, because I'm not going to let you do me like you did last time. Because listen, regardless of how we feel about it, he's saying that he didn't incite that riot. That's what he's saying. He's saying he did, regardless of how we feel about it. That's what he's saying. Where's the proof that he did incite it? You tried to charge him with it. Was he successful? Oh, because he won the election? He might have incited it. I'm not the court or the judge. Ain't nobody paying me to represent them. So I don't know if he incited it or not. Who knows? But he's saying he didn't. But I know if I didn't incite that riot, and that riot cost me bullets by my ear. Oh yeah, as soon, I'm talking about, if you sniffle wrong, I'm gonna have the whole U.S. Army in there. I'm gonna deploy the troops in the Los Angeles like they did in the Desert Storm. I'm gonna call, he cool with the British Prime Minister. That's his dog. You know he cool with the Italian Prime Minister. That's his homegirl. So I'm gonna call all my friends up, and we gonna have a coalition of 750,000 troops outside the city of Los Angeles. If you think that you gonna put this on, see, that's how he thinking. You gotta understand where he's coming from. If you in the politics and you just like, okay, I gotta oppose him because it's President Trump, well, you're not never gonna come to the right decision. I've been preaching that on this live stream the whole time. That's Bloods and that's Crips. That's left and that's right. You ain't gonna come to no right or logical decision if you looking at it from a political lens and you cannot see the other person's side. You gotta understand where they're coming from. So that means you gotta put your stuff down and you gotta think like them. And then pick your stuff back up, and then and it's a process of you being able to win this argument. Factual. You're not gonna beat it. Listen, when I argue, bro, I'm gonna close every door that you got. And if I can't win, I just can't win. You see what I'm saying? If the troops gotta stay, if the troops can only stay for a certain time, then I know they can only stay for a certain time. So y'all, unfortunately, we gonna have to withdraw the troops, unfortunately, because they can only stay for a certain time. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just take it for what it is. But how I'm gonna argue the point is off of, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no court in America going to, once the troops are there now, they there. And the riots are once they there, see President Trump, you just be smart. They deface the property. As soon as they deface the property, President Trump, and it's those pictures on, you can mobilize them. And then you know they're going to sue you. So all it is once they there and that violence going on, ain't no court and no appeals court going to pull them troops back with a potential of it being violence. Unless Governor Newsom can show the appeals court how California got it under control. That's the parameters. I don't have to know all the constitutional law. I know the workings of the law. I know the workings of the court. I know the workings of government. That's all I need to know. And you just give me a little information here, a little bit here, a little bit here. Oh yeah, this is how that's going to go. It's going to go just like that. It ain't politics for me. Because, see, you could understand both sides if you're being reasonable. I just told you where President Trump is coming from. After January 6th, he got, put it together in your mind. It's simple. It's not like he trying to be a dictator. Like he bringing the 740, look, y'all, he bringing the 747 home from overseas. You feel what I'm saying? So President Trump, then he done went over there, and it don't matter how the conversation went. The $400 million Air Force One was on the table. So he done put the $400 million jet in his back pocket, y'all. Here come President Trump. He coming back to America with the jet in his back pocket. They act like he trying to, that's not getting over on nobody, bro. You're not getting over on nobody. This, to me, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's like he not getting over on nobody. What y'all think? He being real. He being straightforward about everything. He said he want to use the U.S. military. And the reason why he want to do it is for the protesters. Because him and Nancy, Congresswoman Pelosi got into a huge argument about whose fault and who was the January 6th, yada, yada, yada. So as soon as I hear a protest, troops, that's not trying to be a dictator. Look at what, bro, they shot at my ear. What? Are you see? Listen, everything bad in my mind that happened to President Trump started really after January 6th. It's like after January 6th, it's like they were going, we're going to come get you. I know how the federal government is. Once you pass that point that they like, we finna come get you, we're going to come get you now. Because in their mind, they feel like, come on, if you the FBI, the police, you don't know what's going on. Like, you got to investigate this. They're always saying we ain't trying to have whatever that is. We don't want that no more. And President Trump, he know that. He got Secret Service that he probably like this with, that they hear stuff. They work for the federal government. They sleeping at Mar-a-Lago. He knows that. He not stupid. So in my mind, the first time I see you, because then, listen, if I'm telling you that chaos will bring down his administration, it did last time, you don't think Governor Newsom know that? This man talking about taking billions of dollars from the state of California. Oh, he got that. They out them West Coast. And you know California, if what California do, the state of Washington doing, Oregon's doing, go out there. I know it. All them Western states, because California, come on. In Illinois, they'll coordinate with Governor Newsom. That is the left. California is their stronghold. President Trump, he know that. So as soon as he see that, listen, if I'm a judge, to be a judge, you have to have a certain amount of wisdom and discernment that you can't get from just learning the law. That comes from God. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm a judge, you got to be able to read that whole scenario. You don't need this on no documents. You heard the story. Where you been? So you know President Trump, while he ain't president, he missed them 4 years of being president because that kind of stuff happened. And I know over the summer, I didn't research this or do no, but I heard Speaker Pelosi or Congresswoman Pelosi and President Trump arguing about whose responsibility. So President Trump said, oh, here you go, take off, get out there. All right, get out there, go. We ain't gonna argue about no responsibility no more. Well, you're going to have to sue me. You're going to have to sue me because I sent them too quick and try to keep them too long. Oh, Riot, get out there. Oh, it's summertime. They've been hearing ghosts talk about July. Get out there. That's not being no dictator, bro. That's not being a dictator. I'm just being real. Y'all know I did that when I didn't vote for President Trump or wasn't support him. I'm going to just be real. That's not being a dictator, not that situation. Those executive orders, you could say he's trying to, but that's subjective too, in my opinion. Because he could just be, listen, you know how many presidents tried to use Congress before and it didn't work? Ask President Obama. He tried to use Congress before too. They all try to use Congress. That ain't got nothing to do with President Trump or Obama. That's DC. That's Congress. Look at their approval rating. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying, if I try to use Congress and I know it won't work, so I'm gonna come up with a solution to try to run to get my agenda done, because I know what's happening with the big beautiful bill is gonna happen with everything in Congress. And I'm gonna be in the White House for 4 years, and I got 3 bills passed in 4 years. President Trump already knew it. So, hey, I know they're gonna sue the snot out of me anyway. So, hey, I'm gonna just try to throw whatever I can through. That was his strategy, bro. Listen, the first term, how y'all came at President Trump, I could understand that, okay? Because of his mentality or his thinking. This second time around, he come back through. He know everything that's happening. He know how the Dems coming at him. He know what he can and can't get through. He knows all of that. So it's just about being a communicator. I wouldn't say that they're effectively, President Biden and them didn't either, but for peace sake, President Biden, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't effectively communicate. Like, you got to be able to communicate with the people, or you need someone like Ghost who could communicate for you. I could talk for you. I ain't no press secretary, no answering no questions. I ain't trying to do it because I'm gonna snap. Because somebody gonna say something stupid, because I don't really just do stupidity. You see the train of thoughts I'll be having. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying I could speak for him. Yeah, this is why President Trump doing this, because he ain't gonna probably put it as eloquently or uneloquently, depending on my audience, as I am. I'm gonna communicate the message to the audience. It could be the King's crowd using King English, talking eloquently and correctly enunciating every single word. See, it's certain times when I talk, I won't even say the word fast, because I'm gonna make sure, I'm on point. And then if I'm talking to my homeboy, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, regardless of what crowd I'm talking to, I'll read the room. Salesperson, server, all of that kind of experience. All kind of different sales. You know what I'm saying? I got a background in it. I could read the room, communicate with people. Communication is a big key to life. Angelo says, Ghost, it's never too late to join MAGA. How you saying I ain't in MAGA already, Angelo? Angelo, you didn't know that, huh? Angelo, listen, I'm gonna be more valuable to President T as who I am. I promise y'all. President T want me Ghost. President T, Angelo, wants me just like this. He's got yes men all the way around him. Angelo, I promise you could tell him. Because look, Angelo, how I can advise, bro. I have the credentials to advise anybody. Angelo, that's what attorneys do. They advise people. I got the credentials to advise anybody. And I love America. So what I'm saying, Angelo, so you telling me if Josh Shapiro is the cool, you gonna vote to you, Angelo, you started off a Democrat. He said, welcome to Common Sense. Boy, I've been over here, man. Real talk, my boy. President Trump, bro, I got 20 ranks. I could tell y'all this publicly. Nah, I'm just playing, man. I'll never cheat on my taxes. Boy, I know the law. I do my own taxes, business taxes, write-offs, exemptions, and everything. But if I could win an appeal in the Court of Appeals, you don't think I could do taxes? You feel me? Nah, but I do my own taxes. But nah, I've been over here though, Angelo. You feel what I'm saying? The man, 20 racks in 3 months, U.S. Treasury. What can I say? When people saying that his government wasn't or doesn't work or didn't work, then it did work. That's why you want me, Angelo, because they're going to trust my opinion. They go to a MAGA podcaster. If you want to hear the truth, you're going to go to a MAGA podcaster. He's going to say everything MAGA. President Trump, right, wrong, or indifferent. If President Trump arbitrarily start talking about bombing Iran, I'm going to come on here, Angelo, and say that I don't think that's a great idea right now. Oh, well, Ghost, you don't support Israel? Oh, yes, I do. That's God's people. All you need to do, President Trump, is support Bibi and let Bibi do his thing. That's his fight. You support Bibi and let Bibi do his thing. It's that simple. That's simple. Look, somebody on here, JGM, he laughing. What's there to laugh for? I'm saying that I said that from day one. Y'all might not follow my Instagram. Go follow my IG. I said that from day one. If I was in a neighborhood and you telling me that you gonna wipe me off the map every single day, you got me. Y'all know how big Israel is? I don't think Israel is big as the state of Florida. Somebody Google that and see how big Israel is. I don't think Israel is big as the state of Florida. Listen to me. I heard President Trump say that Taiwan is a spot on the map, on the desk compared to China. Let me show you this. Let me show you this, homeboy. Bro, if this is hold up, I don't want y'all to see my prices. Yeah, y'all see I got it, right? Angelo, you know, at the year anniversary of a Legal Wars podcast, the next election, we definitely gonna be right. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about all this, we're going to be right. Listen, if this whole thing right here is the Middle East, I'm going to do it like this. Bruh, this key right here is Israel. This key is Israel. And this box is the Middle East. And this whole box saying they want to destroy you. I don't care whose side you on. That's how I look at it. That's how you find out who's right and wrong. I don't care whose side you on. If you coming on TV every single day saying death to the infidel and you shoot missiles that's killing the women and children in our communities, then boy, you know that smoke. You know that smoke, boy. Y'all need some black people up there with y'all. I ain't talking about the black people y'all had up there. Them just like white people. I'm talking about some, you know that's straight smoke. How you gonna say something? This man, bro, how many years since you were 5 years old you been hearing Iran talking about death to Israel? Come on now. You've been hearing that the whole time. Israel this big fighting against all them people. Okay, let me do it like this. Angelo, you from New Jersey. And every state up there want to destroy New Jersey. So you surrounded. VA want a piece of y'all. North Carolina want y'all, South Carolina want y'all, West Virginia want y'all, Ohio want y'all, Vermont want y'all, Connecticut want y'all, Massachusetts. Oh yeah, I'm gonna surround the state, the whole state, Philadelphia, everybody around you want you. I'm saying, what you supposed to do? Israel depending on America to defend them against all them, man, shoot, let Netanyahu do his thing. I appreciate it, Michael. I appreciate it. JGM. They don't have nukes. And Israel does have nukes because Israel can't use their nukes on nobody. Well, you know, we hear President Trump saying these people need to be states. And everybody be laughing and joking on President Trump by talking about Canada, the 51st state. You don't think Israel the 51st state? BB be getting permission from President Trump to do what he's doing. All the weapons are American weapons. They military were trained by our military. I know when I was at Fort Bragg, we had to salute the Israeli generals that was coming to our base, training with us. We had to salute those generals from overseas. They would come train with us on our base, foreigners, all the time. It's stuff y'all don't know. So I'm saying that is a little extension of America. That's America's ally. Our first ones to step up with us if anything happened to us. We use their intelligence all the time. Israel's not just helping. Listen, I'm telling you how hatred is. Y'all think that Iran just have a problem with Israel. You are dead wrong. If you are Iranian, they'll kill you. If you was an Iranian, they have a problem against anybody who, whatever. It ain't just, ask MBS, ask the Saudi Arabian crown prince. He got a problem with the Houthis in Yemen. The Iranians trying to kill their own. They trying to kill MBS. They'll kill MBS if they could. They don't like Kuwait. They don't like Saudi Arabia. None of that. They don't like Israel. They don't like Jordan. They don't like nobody. That's just what it is. So I'm saying, listen, I want to say something too about this, Angelo. I'm finna read your comment about this conflict. I was telling somebody this yesterday. A lot of y'all too young to remember this. I remember when Libya fell, Gaddafi. I remember when Egypt fell, I forgot, Mubarak or something, Mubarak. The Arab Spring. Syria got a new leader. President Trump just shook his hand. Assad was before him. All of those regimes. Iraq, y'all, we remember Iraq. We did that. All of them regimes fell. Iran, the last one. So why are you going to leave Iran there? They going to keep starting fights. They gonna keep, listen, if Putin, Vladimir, I hate but Vladimir, Russia is a war machine. Mother Russia, they've been fighting. Russia's probably the only country that has as much war experience in modern times. Don't go back to the gangsters. We finna use AI moving, like real soon it's gonna be robotics. But I'm saying back in the day, Russia been fighting wars forever. They have, so I'll be hating on Putin. You know what I'm saying? But Brian C. said something about earlier that, you know what I'm saying, Iran had went to Russia for help. Yeah, they did. They went to China too. They went to a lot of countries to attack Israel because they knew they know this fight was coming. And they know they can't handle Israel. But President Trump did too. Well, I'll say the military, they did too. So they were ready for you, Iran. He probably went to China. He got some concessions from China. All your buddies, he backed all your buddies out of it. And he told BB, okay, go ahead. So, how you could feel sorry for Iran? And you deaf to Israel, I don't care who, I'm a Christian, that's the Holy Land. So we gonna die for the whole, bro. We gonna stand 10 on the Holy Land, bro. That's a Christian. That's the Holy Land. But I'm saying, even if it wasn't, let's say it wasn't Israel. Because all these little girls you see on Facebook feeling bad, you know, them Palestinians, they just gonna R-word you or shoot you or behead you. They wouldn't be your friends like that. You need Abu Dhabi, that's different. Saudi Arabia, that's different. Kuwait, Jordan, UAE, that's different. But I'm saying we talking about this, the last of that regime. Okay, President Trump, don't tell the Palestinians that you're going to take and turn their land into Abu Dhabi, but that's what's going to happen. Listen, why wouldn't we want Iran to fall? You wouldn't want MBS to be, I would feel a lot better with MBS. That boy, 40 years old, or I'm sorry, the Crown Prince is 40 years old. That's how, because he's just cool. Right generation, right mentality. He Americanized. And they love him in Saudi Arabia. I was talking to a guy who's from the Middle East, who's from Jordan. They love all throughout. They know who I'm saying, why wouldn't you want somebody like that instead of why you gonna keep the Alatoni command? Why you gonna keep them? I'm saying, like, I don't get it. Like, I'm trying to figure, like, what? Did Putin say not to let him? Did Putin say don't? Because I know he gonna go to Russia. I know he gonna go to, where else he going? He gonna go to China? I think they closer to Russia. That old Soviet communist empire. So Putin, you know, that's Putin boy. You know, Putin cool with the Iranians. Getting all that, oh, I'm serious, getting that oil and stuff. So maybe President Trump knows something. Maybe they had some conversations where they trying to protect the dude. But I'm saying, Angelo, looking at it from just a strategical standpoint, I know if we let this dude, this Iranian, they going to keep bumping heads. It's going to keep happening. That's how you solve a problem? And if I mean, Israel are allies, so Iran ain't finna get out on Israel. They don't really need American help not to do that. Israel could take care of Iran with them American jets. Yeah, it ain't funny though, but it's real. Them American fighter jets, they could take care of Iran. It might take some time, cause some pain. Iran gonna run out of ballistic missiles. Iran ain't got no buddies right now. China is collapsing. But I want you to know, I told you first, if we look at the future of Asia, Angelo, if I ask y'all right now, what's the power in Asia in 10 years? Who's the superpower in Asia in 10 years? You know what I'm going to tell you? Mother Russia. Yeah, Russia's still going to be the superpower. China finna go back to the Stone Ages. That's where they headed. They're going back to where they was before they started stealing from people. Yeah. I don't care. I'm going to just tell you, China, you going right back to where you was before you started stealing from people. And old Vladimir, he's still going to be the top dog in Asia. Russia been the top dog in Asia for a long time. Ain't nothing changing no time soon. That's what that is. And Turkey. I think Turkey gonna be kind of fair. They be like in the middle. I don't think he can't go to Saudi Arabia. It ain't nowhere else he could go besides Russia. If I were President Trump, I wouldn't let him live. I'm sorry. I just gotta say how I feel, because President Trump, if you let they hate Israel. Stop and think about it. They hate Israel. Bro, listen, Israel this big. Iran got an army on their northern border. It's not funny. That's why they getting their head beat in. That's the cost to play. Death to Israel every day, shooting rockets. What you out here shooting rockets saying? Like President Trump called, what's the name, Rocket Man. You might as well call the Iranians, they more Rocket Man than North Korea. At least North Korea, he just shooting rockets in the air. The Iranians are shooting rockets into civilization and have been forever. You could say, oh, it's the Houthi rebels. That's the Iranian army. What's the ones, Angelo, in north, the Kurds force, and the other ones that they always fight? Nah, that's all Iran. So Iran got Israel literally surrounded, shooting rockets at them 24/7, talking about we gonna wipe you off the face of the earth. Boy, shoot, I would have been slapped them boys. It's go time. You've been doing all that talking. You gonna wipe me off the face of the earth? Yeah. You gonna wipe me off the face of the earth. That's what he said. Who heard Iranian leaders say they gonna wipe Israel? He done said that 1,000 times. We gonna wipe you off the face of the earth. I'm saying, even if it wasn't Israel, if you looking at it objectively, say it was Sweden and Denmark. If y'all know, but see, y'all might not understand that. So let me Sweden and Denmark. Say it was say the United States was Europe and all 50 states were individual countries. Say it was two states that I know probably got beef that y'all would know nationwide. Louisiana and Alabama. They ain't got no beef, but you know LSU and Alabama football, that's big. So that's nationwide TV. I know y'all would know something. Louisiana and Alabama got beef. And Alabama went and got Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Texas. And they got Louisiana surrounded, shooting missiles in the Louisiana 24/7. You don't care unless you live in New Orleans. It matters then to you. It'll matter to you then. If they had our country surrounded, shooting rockets into our country all the time, and we had to go underground in our country all the time. So now Louisiana then popped off and popped Alabama in the mouth. How am I feel bad for Alabama? You've been saying death to Louisiana. It's go time. Get it. President Trump's trying to throw him a life raft. I ain't finna throw him no life raft. Oh, death to America, death to death to death to. Okay, then go tell BB that now. It ain't funny, but I'm just being real. Ain't no Iranians could get mad for somebody saying that when you've been screaming death to Israel for the last 1,000 years. And so here go your chance. And BB been waiting to get at you. And he over there popping you in the mouth. And if President Trump don't hold him back, Iran won't be there no more. I don't care how big it is. He over there having fun with him. He trying to be nice about it because he don't want President Trump. Big President T, you know President T, he cool on everybody. You know what I'm saying? MBS, you know what I'm saying? The Crown Prince, that's his homeboy, the Crown Prince, you know, they feel bad for the Iranians. Hey, you ain't gonna come to no God's mighty warrior and try to. I don't say I'm America's mighty because of course I'm gonna shed my blood for my red, white, and blue. That's my flag. That's who I am. I'm staying 10 on who I am. You know me, but I don't say America's mighty warrior. I say God. That's God's country. Real talk, whether you believe it or not. The day the world attacks Israel is the day the world ceases, period. You're not finna, God don't care how small Israel is, you're not wiping them people off of nothing. But since you want to keep jaw-jacking, here's your chance. I'm saying, you think President Trump got to help? He know he ain't got to help BB. Y'all better watch BB now, because BB thugged out. Look, you got to know what neighborhood he in. These people been, it's not funny either because people die, but they've been trying to, think about this. Iran has been trying to they've been trying to take Israel out forever. Forever. They've been trying to take Israel out forever. Well, all that talking, death to the infidel. Death to the infidel. That's what they saying, right? Look, dude, not only death to the infidel, not only you shooting rockets, every day they say that, oh, tonight is going to be the worst night in the dark night over Israel. And all your leaders are dying. Your leaders dying every day. He's taking them out. BB taking them out one by one. Precision. BB with that precision. You feel me? Bro, BB ain't the one that you got to be careful when you dealing with these war countries. BB might as well be a freaking warlord, boy. If you want to know something, BB then fought more. He hit 24/7. The Israel. You ain't hearing me. Israel is this big. Israel this big. And everything, bro, you could fit Israel in Iran 70 times, probably. Not that many, at least 30. If you put Iran and Iraq together, you could fit Israel into that. And then you put all the other countries that were surrounding Israel, Egypt, all their empires, they got rid of all of them. Iran, the last one left. So I always hear you talking about you finna slap him. You gonna take him out. Here go your chance, Mr. Khomeini, Supreme Leader. Take him out. Take BB out. Or you think BB gonna take you out? Or you gonna come try to make a deal with President Trump? President Trump, I'm gonna make a deal after BB did what he needed to do. They say, Ghost, who gonna fill in the vacuum if the Supreme Leader gone? They'll find somebody. Oh, he just gonna be radicalized like the last one. I doubt that seriously. Cause he just seen what happened to him. Well, he gonna come avenge the death? Israel ain't getting less American weapons. They gonna have more. You gonna come avenge the death? What Iran needs right now is Vladimir. They need the war machine, Mother Russia. You see what I'm saying? But Putin can't help him because he tied up in Ukraine. He don't have a military like America who could. You know what I'm saying? China said, y'all, I'm about to go, y'all. We about to get out of here, man. I've been streaming an hour and 45 minutes. Brian C. started that off about Iran. So if you come in here and we talk about Iran in the end, that's why. So China said they finna build a military up. They started getting aggressive. They trying to be like America over. They doing what they think America's doing. They think America is aggressive. They don't understand that the world has voted for America to be the police. They didn't vote you, China. Anyway, so China over there they building you know how much they spending on their military year during build up? $300 million a year during build up. You got 1.4 billion people. You got almost 5 times the many people as the United States. And the United States spends 3 to 4 times as much as you do on your budget yearly. I don't think it'll be a contest, y'all. I really don't. America's not going to get into a conventional war. Like America ain't going to do that. America going to use that money. They're going to use that technology they have for decades and have dominated the world. Y'all, that's my time, y'all. I appreciate every last one of y'all today. All the people stopped by the stream today. Thank you so much. We won't be going live again until next Tuesday unless I do a ghost stream. You know what I'm saying? Next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about AI. Definitely. 10,000%. Have to. Artificial intelligence. The world, as y'all know it, is about to change completely, y'all. Everything is about to change completely. The way we do business with each other, the way we do business in our life, our homes. I ain't talking about modern homes. I'm talking about you going to be in your community and you're going to be seeing robots walking around your community. You're going to interact with them. I'm not talking about like going into Circle K and the computer talking to you. No, I'm talking about a robot that looks like a human. Humanoids. Ain't that what they call them? Yeah, we gonna have some fun, y'all. Make sure y'all double tap the screen if y'all haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. I appreciate every last one of y'all stopping by the stream and stopping by, man. I just give my opinion. You know, I'm an independent. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool on President Trump. I say it all the time. I rock with the big homie, the big triple OG. You know what I'm saying? But if anything I see that, you know, I ain't gonna badmouth nobody and no politician, nothing like that. That's not wise, but unless they messing with the people and the people's rights. You know what I'm saying? A politician I don't mess with, but you know, I mess with President Trump, man. I'm cool on President T completely. You know what I'm saying? The court gonna render that decision today. Y'all look out for that. You know, you could just Google it, get on YouTube. If y'all are interested about that California situation and President Trump and the military and people saying dictator, no king, all of this. I'm not making fun of nobody. I'm just saying, man, we've been talking about that stuff the whole time. The people in power to check President Trump's power, America has checks and balances for that. So I'm not going to be running around wasting my brain cells talking about President Trump trying to be a king. If he is, what can we do? It ain't nothing. I mean, Just let the man do what he's doing. In the meantime, talking about the economy, we might not be able to talk about AR. I got a special next week. Big President T coming with some trade deals next week, President T. Yeah, we need a few more. We don't need a few, President Trump. We need at least one. We need one, President T. You're going to learn, your boy Ghost. We need one trade deal next week, President T. I got to have one. I need one. And I know why. And that's protection. And I ain't really trying to speak on it. I just need a trade deal, President Trump. Bad. Bad, man. I know he got a trillion things to take care of, man, but we need to get that money. I know, and he can't stay there, but you know what I'm saying? Scott B, he come bring Scott B back. Where Scott B went to, y'all bring him back. Yeah, hey, that's my time, man. Anytime I get in a situation with something I don't understand or I always look to God. I'm a Christian. That's why I defend Israel like I do. You see what I'm saying? I believe that's where Jesus come from. You know what I'm saying? He was a Jew. That being said, anytime I get in a situation where something I don't understand, you know what I'm saying? I always look to God. You know what I'm saying? If things get bad for me, things get hard for me, you know what I'm saying? I always say, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it, y'all. Relationship with God, you good, regardless. You know what I'm saying? I thank y'all for stopping in, tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Y'all showing me love. Hey, new baby, thank you for supporting, always donating. I thank y'all so much, y'all. That's my time. I'll see y'all next Tuesday, if it's the Lord's will, at 7 a.m. Central. Legal Wars Live, y'all. Your boy Ghost Rider. I'm out.